check out my crypto here, Timmy.
Get it.
Make sure that it's...
How much money you got up in there?
Maybe some bread. Is it on? Are we on?
Yeah, we're on. We're on right now. We've been on.
I'm trying to refresh this
Been on
thing on
days.
this side over here.
It should be up now.
It is? Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, see, because I have
Looks clean, looks clean.
I have access to it from like the stream manager, so when I hit live, it immediately goes live.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Sound is good. Everything looks good on your end. Muted. So we need to be muted. See.
I like that we can go live and let's get our technical difficulties out of the way while we're live.
That's how we do, man. That's how we do.
As long as the audio's working.
Why not? Why not? I'm repping the Orlando City here today, man, because it was actually the first day of soccer here locally for us too. So we have our big boys.
I like it.
Some workouts. Hopefully we can get into some games this year. So figured I rep them today and give them a little bit of a shout out. So
I know I need to just bite the bullet and call my brother and go watch some soccer games.
I mean, you have an in. There's no
I have the in. Like I have the ultimate in.
Yeah. I took advantage of my in last year and went to a game. So gotta go a little more this year. So
I mean, I can get tickets to like every game.
Yeah. I'm eating Hershey Kisses as we start off here.
Oh.
We got a couple people on here.
All right.
You'll like it.
So, do you want to just start with the big news, or you want to save the big news? You want to save the JJ Watt news?
Let's just jump right into it.
Because I feel like there's going to be some people that have some things to say about this.
Okay. I mean, we can start off with a kind of feel-good story because, the Tiger update. Really, I mean,
let's do that.
Sounds like he's doing pretty good, and he was feeling much better to see his mates out there on Sunday wearing some red, as he normally does. Custom for Tiger to wear red on Sundays, and a bunch of the guys they got together, they got out there, and they were wearing red to show some support for Tiger. So I thought that was pretty freaking cool, man, to see that. I don't know if you've seen the pictures of Tony Finau, but Jesus Christ, it's like watching Tiger walk out there. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know if he asked Tiger to borrow like one of his shirts from his closet, because it was like spot on. I mean, pretty freaking
like
cool.
when Tiger was yoked back in the day, like his shirts were like, I mean, they were like contoured to him. Like he had to have those custom made because they were definitely a little bit bigger in the chest and contoured down at the waist. And I tell you what, if I get a golf shirt looking like that, I'm gonna look like Ezekiel Elliott in a crop top playing golf. Like it's gonna be ridiculous.
Yeah, it was cool to see it, and it was cool. The comments coming over from Colin Morikawa there at the end, the winner. It was pretty damn cool to see his thoughts, and he's a young dude. He's 24 years old, and to come out there and talk about, he's like, I lost my grandfather like a month ago. We lost Kobe last year. We just don't say thank you enough to these guys when they're still around, and it always seems to happen when we lose them. So he just wanted to really thank Tiger for everything that he's done. And he's like, this accident kind of puts things in perspective, and, we're real close to losing a guy like that. That means so much to the sport. And, so thank you to Tiger. And he got pretty emotional about it. I thought that was pretty cool to see a young guy like that, 24 years old, has won 4 times on the tour, up and coming, showing his love and respect for a guy that has done so much for that sport. I thought was pretty nice of him. So good up on Colin Morikawa for that.
Well,
for sure.
I mean, it just goes to show how much, I know you and I talked about it last week with the whole NBA logo change. Like Tiger is one of those guys, if they were going to change the golf logo, the PGA logo, it would be of Tiger Woods. Like that's he changed the game and brought it into the modern era and made golf quote unquote cool for a lot of people. That I mean, now you've got these triple decker driving ranges and people wanting to go out there and I mean, there's not a lot of people out there emulating shots of Justin Thomas. They're emulating, Tiger shot. They want to hit the Tiger shot. So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And he, like we talked about before, not to go into the full details of our conversation previously, but like we did talk about how he brought people into the game and people learned about the game and
right.
became interested in the game and learned the history of the game once they got in because of Tiger. And at that point, it's like, now we're here. This game's pretty cool. Start learning more about it. But the guy that brought them in initially was Tiger Woods. And so I think the PGA definitely owes a lot to Tiger and to his brand and for what he's done for the game as much as anything. So it was just cool to see that, just to see guys come out and show their support for him. And with all his ups and downs, I know that guys sometimes, have, haven't always liked Tiger, all the time. But I guess when you win so much, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But overall, I thought, pretty cool to see that that come about. So good up on those guys, man. Appreciate that.
Way to go, Tiger. That's
right.
Changing the game.
Yeah.
So let's get into the big news. Everybody's waiting to talk about this. Well, let's touch on this real quick. I haven't heard about a $60 million renovation to Camping World Stadium since 2019, when that renovation came through, which was the upper deck and the bathrooms and the parking lot and everything else. So that's all new news to me. We're gonna have to look into that. Riley's up in here trying to spread some rumors that nobody knows about, like he's got some insider info that we don't know about. I don't know. We're gonna have to.
Well, he's kind of the soccer guy, so I guess we could lead on him. I'll have to touch on my Orlando City insider stuff. I'll have to hit up some people over there to see what is happening with a bid for a World Cup, because they obviously would know a whole lot about that. May not be playing at their stadium, but they're definitely going to know about a potential World Cup bid coming this way. So see what information we can get there, and we'll throw that out there if we come across anything. But it'd be cool to see, man. I know that what was it, 94 that the World Cup was here in the US, and I think Orlando had several of the games. So I think it'd be pretty damn cool to have that come around. The big question for Riley and for all the soccer fans out there is, will our team qualify for a World Cup? Because the last time around, not so much. So I was just having a conversation with somebody earlier today, big soccer fan, and we were talking about how this U.S. team this time around has no reason whatsoever to miss a World Cup. Have a lot of talent, have a lot of guys playing in the Champions League and overseas in Europe, and really no excuses this year. This time around, they need to get it done. So. I know you're a huge soccer fan, Tim, So all that insight that you have on it, I'm just waiting to have that all pour out of you.
I kick the old pigskin around every now and then, Is that what it is, pigskin or plastic? What are they made out of? I don't know. I thought they used to be, when soccer was first created in Asia, they actually used severed heads as the soccer ball. So a little side note there for you. I don't know. A lot of people know that, but. Let's talk about the big news. Let's go with $31 million news. 2 years, $23 million guaranteed to a youngster turning 32 in 3 weeks. J.J. Watt going to the Arizona Cardinals.
J.J. Swat.
What does this mean?
That's big news, man.
What does this mean for the conference, for the division, and for the Cardinals? Let's talk about those things.
Well, I mean, for the conference is definitely, more excitement for the conference for sure. A conference that's already pretty well stacked up, if you ask me. I think much like the Western Conference and the NBA, you're looking at being the strong one. You're looking at the NFC as the strong side in football, at least in my opinion. And now you're adding a guy to an Arizona team who's kind of up and coming. They have some exciting pieces, and they had a great pickup this offseason, obviously this past offseason with what's his name, Hopkins, so his former teammate. So now they get to be teammates again. I'm sure that pitch helped out quite a bit.
I was going to say, I wonder if that had anything to do with it when I saw it, because I was like, that's what garbage player did they give Houston for J.J. Watt?
I know. But tell you what, man, going over there, I wonder if you have Kyler Murray. Do you try to make a play for Deshaun Watson?
Russell Wilson?
Do you even go that route?
Just bring all of Houston back over into Arizona? I like that idea.
Shoot.
I like that idea.
I mean, I guess, what do you think about Kyler Murray? Is he the guy? Is he going to be able to get them over the hump? I mean, that's
No,
kind of it right there.
I
No?
don't think he's going to be the guy to get them over the hump. I think I just it's not that he's not good. He is good, but he's I just don't. How many quarterbacks that have won a Super Bowl are not your prototypical quarterback? I guess is the question. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is probably one of them, but Patrick Mahomes is very capable of staying in the pocket if he needs to.
Yeah.
But I mean, you look at the quarterbacks that have actually won the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, Tom Brady, is going to be on most of those lists, but pocket quarterback. Um,
Hmm.
I mean, just looking over the last 10 years, it's I don't think Kyler Murray is the kind of quarterback that's going to win a Super Bowl.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
this
it's gonna be.
defense could help.
You definitely, but I see it the same way, kind of as you on in when I look at Kyler Murray, I look at the team and I say, is this a guy that can win? And for whatever reason, as fun as he is to watch, to watch play, I mean, I just don't think that he's that guy,
Yeah,
that he can win it. So, I don't want to throw him in the same mold as a guy like what's his name from
RG3,
Baltimore?
Lamar Jackson,
Well,
both of them.
Lamar Jackson. I don't want to throw him in that same mold, but because I think he's definitely a much better passer than Lamar Jackson, who to me is just a running quarterback.
Yeah.
But guys that, yeah, they're fun to watch, but they going to win anything? And I just don't think. I mean, I may eat my words, but I just don't see it happening. I don't see them kind of getting a team over the hump. But for JJ Watt, 31 years old, gets $23 million guaranteed.
Yeah.
You know, I guess what's the thought there? If you're looking at JJ Watt, yeah, he's been banged up, but he's been great when he's on the field. He does a lot for the community. What kind of move do you think it was for him? Do you think this, obviously he's looking to win,
hmm
but was this the right choice if you're looking to win?
Well, I mean, you got to look at their numbers, I guess, going from last year. They were 10th in pass yards, which is commendable, but they were 23rd in rush yards per game. And is that something that J.J. Watt's going to be able to help with? One, his leadership is next to none, next to none. And I think that there is going to, I think that number is going to definitely go up in a good way. I think
Mm-hmm.
they could definitely become a top 10 pass defense or rush defense. And they were 17th in turnovers, which J.J. Watt's never been a huge turnover guy, but I think the fact that just having him there, it's like, it's like having a when they kind of put a wide receiver out on the field, or they list him as questionable. You don't know if they're going to play. Like, just the fear that he's there, it makes your team kind of have to plan around it. You know what I mean? And I think that's something you're going to see with them um, coming up. I think there's definitely going to be some changes to their defense. I think I wouldn't be surprised, obviously, in the draft if they make some moves to bolster that, because their offense is really not looking horrible. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it's gonna be different now to see where he's gonna fit in the mix on there, and if it's gonna help out, and you're gonna start seeing some big names out there. Having Jordan Hicks, Isaiah Simmons, and Hassan Reddick there on the line. It's gonna be
Yeah.
it's gonna be interesting to see how those guys kind of mold now to have that leadership right next to him and know this guy's got your back.
Yeah, and they have Chandler Jones out there too, whom I think this past year was banged up and sidelined. But
hmm
when he is on the field, he's one of those quiet guys that will get you quite a bit. Before you know it, he's out there picking up sacks and putting all kinds of pressure on the quarterback. So you get him on one side, JJ Watt on the other side. They still have. Do they? I believe they still have Patrick Peterson back there. Do they not? Um, you know,
Yes, yeah, they do.
I mean, he's a little long in the tooth there, but he's still, very good back there.
And
And
Drake
the type
Kirkpatrick's
of,
not bad on the other side. He's a
yeah,
solid other corner.
but you have guys that, are borderline, top of the pack kind of players. All of a sudden you add a guy like that to the front line that can put pressure on the quarterback, and
Right.
it makes those guys that much better, because now all of a sudden, from having to guard guys and defend guys for they break their route and now they're running around. Well, that probably isn't happening anymore. Now the quarterback on the opposing team is dropping back. He just has 3-4 seconds and he has to get rid of the football. A lot easier to defend guys when you're on the outside there playing DB. when that clock it kind of speeds up a little bit. So
Yeah.
I thought it was a little bit interesting. I did hear some of the other teams that were potentially involved. Green Bay, Buffalo. Buffalo was the one that was a bit of a surprise to me that he was considering Buffalo, and apparently, I saw a couple of tweets that said that Buffalo was actually number two.
Too cold. Too
Um,
cold for him.
but it was his number two destination, which I thought was kind of interesting. Um, Buffalo for years was a place that nobody wanted to go to, even coaches, and now all of a sudden, guys are really considering playing there. So kudos to them for turning that thing around.
And I mean, that just goes to show how important a quarterback is on a team. I mean,
right.
it's that simple. Like that's like there's no other explanation. I mean, yeah, they made some moves, they picked up some guys, but they weren't big names. Like Stephon Diggs is a good wide receiver. I still wouldn't put him on the elite level, but the fact that their quarterback got there, showed up, did what he needed to do, is now making Buffalo stand out. Regardless of what Eisman says, I he's a Vikings fan, so let's go ahead and put that to bed right now, that argument. But getting back to where we are, honestly, I think with Arizona, they're only a couple pieces away, I think, honestly, from being an actual contender. I still think they need a better running game. I just I look at their running backs, and between Kenyon Drake and Chase Edmonds, I don't see anything that stands out. And again, is Kyler Murray the guy that's going to take them? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's the big question for them now, right? Is can he be the guy that takes him over the hump? It would be interesting to see how they use J.J. Watt, if they're going to kind of keep him in there for, they're going to try to
put him in at tight end
down a little bit. Probably. I mean, the guy's athletic enough. The question with him has always been staying on the field, right? He always seems to be banged up, and that's kind of a big question for me with that team, because right now, like I said, Chandler Jones being on that on that team, opposite of him on the line, you got two guys that have had a hard time staying on the field. So when they're on the field, it's probably going to be great. The question is, again, can they stay on the field long enough to make some real noise? But you have a division now that is a lot more interesting for sure. In terms of who you have there. So, who's your favorite? Still, do you think this moves the needle enough to move them anywhere in the pecking order in terms of that division?
Now that's a good question. I don't know, because that's one of those divisions. No, I don't think that's going to move them above Seattle or the Rams, depending on what happens with the whole Russell Wilson thing. And San Francisco is kind of a question mark because that whole team is just hurt all the time. I mean, when they're healthy, they're amazing, but if they can't stay healthy, they're I guess they're like any other team. But the Rams now with Matt Stafford, I think honestly, I can't see a reason why they're not the favorite to win that division. And depending on what happens to Russell Wilson, Seattle could drastically fall if they lose him. So yes and no, depending on really what happens in the next few months. I don't think adding J.J. Watt is going to automatically make you get you a division title. I don't think that.
Yeah. I mean, I would agree with that. I still think that you're looking at the Rams and the Seahawks as kind of battling it out for that top spot in that division if they're healthy, and everybody plays to their potential. Now, obviously, every season brings some different challenges, so we'll kind of see where that goes. But it definitely makes for a very, very interesting division. I saw a couple tweets before we came on where people were saying by far the best division in football. I mean, I don't know if I can go quite that far. I mean, you look down the line and you see a couple other, interesting divisions as well. But I guess talent-wise and, powerhouse-wise, whatever. I mean, when you look at it, just in the NFC, you look at the South, Falcons, Panthers, Saints.
But again,
Bucks,
that's depending on what happens in the next coming months. Is Matt Ryan going to stay there? Is Drew Brees going to retire out of nowhere? How is the draft going to be looking? We don't know what's going to happen. I mean, honestly, you look at the AFC East, and there's only a few, they're only a few players away, minus the Jets. Miami and New England are only a few players away from where potentially, three of those teams could make the playoffs. Realistically.
Yeah. Yeah. Have we found out if the whole 17 playoff is going to be carried over to the next season? Was that a
I hope so.
just a thing moving forward, or was that just a one off? Because of the season and just kind of how everything went down. They were trying to kind of create a little something. Because I think that that it worked great. I
Yeah.
mean, we went to the last week of the season where you had a team potentially making the playoffs and being a division winner, and then losing and being completely out, and just so much happening in the last couple of weeks of the season, which was awesome.
I thought it was nice that the to taking the COVID situation out. I thought it was kind of nice not having to deal with all the preseason garbage. We obviously did see some injuries kind of take hold in the regular season because whether or not that was a factor we don't know, but I am a little curious with the 17 games and seeing how does that work, because my biggest thing, and I'm a stats guy, I'm a records guy. When you
Mm-hmm.
add another game into the season, you've got to put an asterisk on that, right? Or you've got to like start a whole new record book, because you're talking rushing yards in a season, receiving yards in a season, receptions, passing yards. I mean, all these different records that can be
Mm-hmm.
broken in a single season just by adding one game.
Yeah,
I mean, you
but
can
did
get
they?
2,000-yard rushers all the time now.
Yeah, but are they adding a game, or because I was looking at more of the 17 playoff system they had. Um, so I mean, 17 games is supposed to happen too. So I've been saying that he's hearing
Yeah.
that 17 is supposed to happen. I mean, yeah, I mean, it kind of changes. It does change a bunch. You know what I mean? Because now you have a whole extra game that for some guys, especially nowadays, that can be a huge difference. I mean, that could be a 200-yard game that puts him over the top right there.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're King Henry. I mean, that guy seems. I mean, especially as the season rolls on, he gets better and better. Back into that thing, he's got an extra game. I mean, he'll have some monster yards. I mean, he'll be killing it.
But apparently the whole
Um,
17 thing was in the collective bargaining agreement, so I think that is going to stay. Um, I don't recall anything about the 17 games. I don't know if they're going to wait for a new collective bargaining agreement, which would be what, nine years down the road, wouldn't it? I mean, isn't it every 10 years or something? Or
yeah, yeah. I
I don't
think at
know.
that point, I mean, Tom Brady was probably going to be, negotiating that one, so he's still going to be in the league 9 years
Yeah, he'll
from
be
now.
sitting at the round table, him and Anquan Bolden, still representatives.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean I mean it's not baseball. I know you're a stats guy and a records guy, but it's not baseball where it seems that people just kind of like live and die by the records in that sport. But it is going to make
Yeah.
for an interesting conversation moving forward, especially when some of these guys that are in the game now start hitting opportunities to go into the Hall of Fame. And
Hmm.
that conversation. So that's when really I think you'll start hearing a lot more buzz about it, whether, a guy, his numbers are reflective of extra games or whatnot. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that rolls around when the time comes.
PP says we can't have an odd number of games, so there you go. I think he's putting that to rest right now, I guess. But the other big news is Alex Smith is likely going to be leaving the Washington football team,
Okay.
which is a little interesting. I mean, he was comeback player of the year and
Hmm.
still wants to play, and I think he's going to find himself in a backup role behind a prominent quarterback, is my guess.
Okay. Is there a market for Alex Smith? That's the question.
Kansas City is my guess.
Okay.
That's my
Okay.
guess.
All right.
So we'll see what
So it
happens
looks
with
like
Alex Smith.
maybe the Jaguars. It seems like some of the headlines say that they might be interested in a guy like Alex Smith. I don't think I think wherever he goes, he's the type of guy that any team, kind of cliche-ish to say it, but any team would be lucky to have Alex Smith.
Yeah.
Um, just because veteran guy like that, all the experience that he has, I feel like he's the type of guy that's great for a locker room. Um, wherever he goes, I can see him definitely, with this headline here talking about, the Jags. I can see that with a guy like Trevor Lawrence coming into that situation, get a nice, established guy that has gone through quite a bit in his career that can teach a young guy some tricks.
Yeah.
I mean, good fit. Good fit.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens with Alex Smith, but
Uh,
it is looking like he's going to be gone. So
Look
going to
at
the
Peaky Blinders
Patriots.
trying to get a reaction out of me. Better than Cam Newton.
Send
That's
him
all
to
I'm
the
saying about
Pats.
that.
Send him to the Pats. It's bad that the Patriots are now becoming the Jaguars, where it's just like, oh, just send him over there and see what
Yeah.
happens.
Anybody that comes available, send them to the Patriots. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I've heard. I think Mac Jones is the name I keep hearing for New England. So
Apparently,
we'll see how that goes.
the Niners contacted Carolina for old Teddy B as well as a looking for a little depth over there.
Hmm.
So and
Well,
that's not a bad play depending on what they're going to do with Jimmy G. With his injury issue, I wouldn't mind having Teddy Bridgewater as his backup. I think that immediately, I mean, Teddy Bridgewater could be a starter on a lot of teams.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it sounds to me like teams are calling them just because Carolina has made it very clear that they're trying to get Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
So teams I think are just kind of getting their name out there and they're saying, hey, listen, if you are going to get Deshaun Watson, we're interested in your guy. So
But this could be
I,
Carolina. This could be Carolina making a move for the draft. I mean, that would give them about $10 million in dead cap space, or dead money on the cap, which would kind of suck. But they might be kind of clearing some room, and you never know what's going to happen with a trade like that. I mean, they could they could maybe make some moves. I'm just saying. The
yeah, yeah,
Niners want Jimmy G to be their starter, plain and simple. They want a healthy Jimmy G. That's been made clear. And then, you've got these trade rumors where they were talking about trying to make a move for Matt Stafford, Deshaun Watson. At this point, is anybody going to make a move for Deshaun Watson? Because now it's getting a little later in time where these other quarterbacks are going, with Stafford went, and people are starting to kind of settle, I guess, like the after season settle is hitting. Is he going to
yeah.
actually get moved, do you think?
Well, I think he is, and I think there's only one team that is really has any play for
The
him, and it's
Jets.
just a matter of no. I think it's Miami. I think that Houston is waiting for Miami to call them up and say, hey, we're going to give you your picks back, and from the Laramie Tunsil trade, and we're going to give you Tua, we're going to give you your picks back, and you send us Deshaun Watson. He wants to be there.
Yeah.
They want him, and I just don't see it not happening. I mean, he's made it very clear to everybody in that organization that he's not going to play for the Texans.
Right.
He's not going to go there. So if you're the Texans, I mean, how much leverage do you have when he's made it so public? Yet you have enough leverage, I think, with a team in particular that wants him and he wants to go there. It's just a matter of cough up what we're asking for, and we'll just send them your way.
And again, I
Um,
think you and I discussed this with the whole not playing thing. I am not a fan of that at all.
mm-hmm.
I think you agreed to sign a contract. Just because you're not happy doesn't mean you're not going to play. Uh, I mean, I don't know. I'm a firm believer if you're choosing to not play, then you shouldn't get paid. If you're just like, I'm not going to play because I'm not
Right,
happy, okay, well, then we're not going to pay you because we pay you
right.
to play. If you get hurt, that's a whole different story. But if you want to just be a baby and throw a fit, especially when you've got all that talent and you've got the ability to make your team rise up, why not play lights out to raise your stock? I just don't get it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I agree with that. We've had a conversation about it, and I'm 100% on that same boat too. You sign the contract, you play. If you want to have conversations behind closed doors and you want to tell people, hey, listen, this is not working out. Similar to what people do in the workforce now. I know everybody wants to talk about how it's not the same world, and the professional sports world is very different, obviously, from the regular Joe's work day. But if you're unhappy with something, you go to your supervisor and you say, hey man, this isn't working out. Either we make a change or I'm getting the hell out of here. But you do that kind of behind closed doors. You don't go sit there in front of the whole staff and say, hey, listen, I just went to the manager and told him, if you don't pay me, I'm getting the hell out of here. I
Right.
mean, people talk at work, so stuff gets out, but you don't sit there in front of everybody and say, hey, listen, I want to get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
They need to do something. You go do it behind closed doors. If you're a professional athlete, I think you should do the same thing. For as much as these guys want to bitch and whine about how they're treated unfairly, we talked about in a different sport, but Draymond Green sat up there and he was bitching and whining about how they're treated and or how they're not treated, and how it's not fair. Well, you know what? You guys go out there and do kind of the same crap too,
Yeah.
and it's a two-way street, and you should treat it, in my opinion, a little bit different. If you sign a contract, play the damn thing. If you knew you were going to be that damn good, then you should have a better agent to sign something else, a little bit better. I mean, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
that's what he's there for, right?
And then I get what Eisman's saying. He's making a valid point. Is that by him not wanting to play, it drives the price down to where now Houston's not going to get what they should be getting for him. Because why give a guy away that's worth 3 or 4 first-round picks and you're only going to get 2 first-round picks out of him and Tua? Like it doesn't make sense for Houston. But at the same time, why hold on to him and pay him and not get anything out of him? Like you might as well try and get something out of it. I don't know. It's a catch-22, pun intended there. But that's enough of Deshaun Watson. He's starting to aggravate me. He's starting to make me not want to draft him again next year.
Well, I'll tell you what. I did want to circle back to Jimmy G because I think I don't know if it was you or in the chat that they were mentioning that they want Jimmy G to stay there. I think it's actually the opposite. I think that San Francisco is dangling him out there and they're trying to get rid of Jimmy G. And I think that they're trying to offload him to New England. I think they know New England wants him.
Yeah.
But New England's Bill Belichick is just not the guy that's going to be going out there going, come on, man, make a deal with me. You know what I mean? He's going to sit there stone face and he's going to be like, well, I don't want him, Why are you going to try to give him to me, And then he's going to try to get him for nothing. But I do think that San Francisco is ready to move on from Jimmy G. So it doesn't surprise me. I don't think that a guy like Teddy Bridgewater going from Carolina to San Francisco, I don't think it's to back up Jimmy G. I think if they're making a play for him, it's so that he can start. And, truth be told, as much as I like Jimmy G, I think that I wouldn't be mad at that play for them to get a guy like that. In that division, especially right now, you got J.J. Watt coming into it. Chandler Jones, you need a guy that can run a little bit and get the heck out of the pocket, extend plays. It makes sense for them to go for a guy like that versus having a guy like Jimmy G who has had his injuries and, is he going to be able to run away from J.J. Watt and stay in one piece?
Well, I think a lot of what it's all coming down to now is salary cap. I think a lot of teams are going to be scrambling. I think this is the reason that Juju's going to be on a new team. You've got your franchise tags, but the franchise tags even now are getting so ridiculous. I mean, you're talking, $24 million for a franchise tag quarterback. But I think teams are going to start scrambling, and you are going to see that natural swap that we see every 5 years of all these big name players where the contracts are ending, and now they're on new teams. And it's going to be interesting to see who ends up where, as always.
Yeah, and I think Brady seems to end up in this conversation, all the time in any football related conversation. But I think that with him making the move and going to the Buccaneers, especially now this year with them winning a Super Bowl, you saw Peyton Manning make a move from Indianapolis going to Denver. I think that guys are now starting to look at it going, you know what? F this whole thing about trying to do a whole career in one team, and going down with a sinking ship. No, we're going to go out there and we're going to go win some championships. And that means we need to move out and we need to go somewhere else. And that's what we're going to do. It's, and I think, and in the past, you would see, especially quarterbacks, were staying put a lot longer, obviously, because those are the high-paying guys, and teams were a lot more willing to give those guys, obviously the money and try to keep them happy. But I think guys now are just saying, hey, we want to go win. Now, again, if your contract is up and you want to go win, you go have at it. I will say it again. If you're mid-contract, don't bitch and whine about the contract that you signed.
Right.
And now you want to get out. When you signed the deal, you knew what your team had or didn't have, and you knew that you taking a crap ton of the cap was going to go ahead and sacrifice what you were going to get around you. So you can't sit there and talk out of both sides of your mouth and say, I want all this money, and then bitch and whine to your owners saying, hey, we need more talent or I'm going to get the hell out of here. Well, you know what? You took all the money. You have to try to find a happy medium if you really want to win. I mean, it's easy for us to sit here and I know to talk about it, and these guys have to make it happen. But, if you find that right GM that can start, getting guys to believe in what they're wanting to build, because if not, you got to win early. You have
Yeah.
to do it kind of the Patrick Mahomes route where they did in Kansas City. That team is very interesting to me moving forward with
Hmm.
all the money that they dished out to that young man. It's gonna be interesting to see how they can keep that team together.
Well, and it's going to be interesting too, because again, going back to Miami is there's all this talk with Deshaun Watson. They want to pick up some new receivers with all the receivers that are going out, and they also are interested in getting Aaron Jones. And I feel like Miami's putting their fingers out and everything because they've got 4 picks in the first 2 rounds, and it's going to be. I don't think from a financial aspect they can afford to get someone like Aaron Jones and Deshaun Watson. I think you're going to get one of those two guys. But at the end of the day, from a wide receiver aspect, there are a lot of wide receivers they can go after and combo that with an Aaron Jones or Deshaun Watson and bolster that team even more just with the picks that they have. So
Yeah,
that's another thing that's going to be interesting to watch. Is I feel like a lot of people are going to be watching the Dolphins just to see who ends up over there.
yeah, yeah. And you know what? Again, being a Pats fan, yeah, I don't want to see the Dolphins do good, But with that being said, um, don't screw it up, Dolphins. You know what I mean? I'm a Brian Flores fan, and I feel like they've done it. They've done a good job so far in his first couple of years there of somewhat being patient. Don't all of a sudden get all crazy excited and decide, oh, let's go out there and sign everybody and their mother out there and screw that thing up.
Right.
You've kind of cleared out some cap space. You're trying to do better on that front. You're doing a little bit better with what you're trying to do to build something. Don't all of a sudden jump ship on that and decide, hey, let's just go and sign everybody now. And like I said, screw it up. Stay patient, stay the course, and build something that's going to last a while. Don't be the Florida Marlins. Don't go out there and win one now and then go another 20 years before you win anything again.
Yeah.
Make it so that you can win several. At least that's what
Well,
I have to say about that.
it's always interesting. I think it's always more interesting to see where the top running backs and the top quarterbacks end up than it is for the wide receivers because time and time again we've seen the wide receivers are a product of the offense that they're on. We've seen wide receivers move to teams where they're great wide receivers on one team and not so good on another one because of the talent behind the offensive line. So we'll see. That was a little more football talk than I thought we were going to get into tonight. I like it. I like it.
Hey, football is what dominates our
Everything.
world here in the good old U.S. of A. Everybody wants to talk about baseball being the America's pastime. Not no mo. Not no mo. It is. It is not. With that said, we started some baseball games today, and I don't know that there's a whole lot of pub about that. I don't know how excited you get for baseball starting. I'm gonna make more of an effort this year to watch a little bit more of the games. My team was horrendous last year, so pretty quick for me to turn it off.
Go Braves.
Just
There's
because
Bill. Go Braves.
there he is. Hey, I just threw it out there for Bill.
He heard it. Yeah, his ears perked up.
I reeled him right in.
I honestly, baseball is one of those games where I actually enjoy being at a baseball game more than watching it on TV. Like, I would rather watch football on TV. I would rather watch basketball on TV. I would rather sit through an entire baseball game at the stadium than watch it on TV because it is so boring watching it on TV. And that's the one thing I hate about baseball in general is watching it on TV is just it's so rough. It's slow. There's too many commercials and all this other stuff. But you don't get to see anything away from the baseball itself. You get to watch the pitcher and the batter, and that's about it. You don't get to see the other stuff that's going on the field. And I want to go to a baseball game. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, I think you and I should hop on the. We could take the bomb van or whatever we need to, and we can make a
Go
little
up to
bit
ATL?
of a round here. Well, we could do that. That's for damn sure. I like that. I'm a fan of the Braves on that side of baseball. You know me. I'm a Red Sox fan, but but I'll root for the Rays and the good old NL. But we have a lot of teams doing their spring training.
Mm-hmm.
around us.
Wide
It's
World of
pretty easy
Sports,
for
aren't
us
they
to
still
get
doing it
around.
there?
No, they're out of there now. But
What?
but we have Lakeland, we have Clearwater, and
That's
we
true.
have nobody wants to go to Tampa to watch the Yankees, but if you really want to, I guess I'll make
Ooh.
an appearance there. But
Depends on who they're
yeah,
playing.
man. I mean, we can make the trek all the way down to Fort Myers and go to good old JetBlue Park and watch some Red Sox. The problem with them is that they feel like they're still at Fenway Park and they want to sell you a ticket for Fenway Park prices.
I tell you what, though,
Um,
I am down. I am down to make a trip to Atlanta and go to a Braves game. I went to one last
I
time I
like
was in
that.
Atlanta and had a hell of a time. Sat in left field out there. I think I paid like $12 for my ticket. We were 3 rows from the end. I mean, that's just it's a
That
different environment, man.
Yeah, and that's the new stadium, right?
No, I
So
was at the old
so
stadium.
okay.
Yeah, that was
Just
before the
built.
new one. It was before the new one. The new one was being built when I went there. So I was there the last season that they played there.
Okay. But you've actually, kind of side note, you with a previous job that you had an opportunity to kind of get around a little bit and do some traveling, and you were able to see some stadiums up close and personal. And is it true that Baltimore has the best baseball stadium in the big leagues
I've been to
as far as you've seen?
I've been to you know it is impressive. I will say that. That's Camden, right? Baltimore's
Yeah.
Camden.
Yep.
It is it's like its own little town. Like once you walk through those gates, I mean, it's just a different environment, and especially on game day, when everything's open and the people are there, it's just that whole area in Baltimore is buzzing, man. I mean, it is insane. Plus, they've got the football stadium that's not too far from there too, where the Ravens play. But Camden was probably the coolest baseball stadium that I've seen. Yes, I will say that.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
never been to Wrigley.
And
I've never been to Boston, the one in Boston. What is it? The
Fenway Park.
Fenway Park.
Yeah, I tell you what, I went to Fenway when I was very very young, and I haven't had an opportunity to go back. I'm trying to make a trip up there. I want to take my son up there
Yeah.
because the one thing about Fenway, and it's probably and I feel like baseball kind of does this a little bit, is that you kind of feel like the baseball game and the town kind of becomes one on game day when you have when you
Yeah.
have some with some of these teams, and with the Red Sox is definitely the case. I was up there in what was it, 07, 08. The Red Sox were a very good team. It was towards the back end of the season. I went up there for a wedding, but we were driving around Boston, and it was game day actually. So you can hear the PA coming on. And they're announcing the guys going there, and whatnot. And even outside of the stadium, you feel the buzz, and you almost feel like you're in the stadium. And
Yeah.
and Fenway is one of those places that, because of how old it is, they close down a street. That's where they scan your ticket, and the city and the stadium kind of become one. So that's
Plus,
pretty, to me,
Henry
that's
Rowan Gardner
pretty
played there, so
pretty freaking cool to see that kind of happen like that. But yeah, unfortunately for me, the last baseball game that I went to was at the Trop. And if you want to talk about great baseball stadiums, that's on the opposite end of the spectrum. It is absolute garbage.
the last
I
game I
mean,
went
it
to
is bad.
was in I went to a Phillies game in Philly, and I tell you what, we took the subway actually dead ends where the stadium is, and you come up, and when you walk out, they've got the football stadium, they've got the baseball
Hmm.
stadium, and they've got the arena. And I tell you what, man, that is just an impressive sight to see such massive buildings all in the same area, and they're all for the same reason. It's like these are
Yeah.
built for fans. And I got to see the Phillies play the Marlins, and I think the Marlins were having an atrocious season that year, and it was like their first win of the season. And I was a little upset because I wanted the Phillies to win and kind of see how everyone reacted on the way back, and it was just silence. Like there was like 3 people in Marlins gear on the subway, and I was surprised they didn't get jumped. But it was the Philly stadium was probably the coolest game that I ever went to. So
Okay. All right. I mean, I'm a fan of stadiums, and we were actually just having that conversation again with somebody earlier today. I was telling them how I just I don't know what it is. I just like being around stadiums. I like to I haven't been to as many as I'd like to, and that I want to. But anytime that I'm driving by one, I always find myself just kind of really checking it out. It's just
Yeah.
I don't know why. It just it's a cool thing for me. You know what I mean? To see these places where these athletes are getting out there and getting after it, and where a lot of great moments happen. And I mean, again, not to get too sappy or anything like that, but I mean, it's just the way it is. I mean, you get to see this stuff on TV, and then all of a sudden you're right there and
Yeah.
you've seen it in front of you. It to me, it's just pretty cool. And that's just the power of sports in general. With
Well, and I
any
think
sport.
probably the most impressive football stadium I've ever seen is probably Soldier Field in Chicago.
Yeah.
That's another one of those towns where, man, it's just it's almost awe-inspiring. Like, it's just, you can see it off in the distance, and it's just it's like a
Yeah.
relic, man, that you just are drawn to.
Yeah, yeah. I can't imagine what it would be like to go to Green Bay
Yeah.
because that stadium is in where normally they are kind of on some not so great parts of town. Most of these stadiums, that one is just in a like a subdivision almost, like a like a just a neighborhood.
It's like going to an
Um,
elementary school. You kind of go down somebody's driveway and just keep going.
I mean, really, that's what it is. I mean, if you've seen the pictures of it, these people, you go into your backyard, you put the grill on, you're like, oh, hey, they got the stadium lights on today.
Game's on.
Game's on, yeah. So that must be pretty cool to see. But yeah, baseball starting. I don't know, Tim. I feel like we should make a drive and see some minor league baseball.
I
What
love
do you think
minor league
about that?
baseball, man. Minor
Yeah,
league baseball is one of those, like, the game is still pure there because those guys are playing for a reason. And
yeah,
man, I remember when the Orlando Rays used to play in Orlando at right next to the stadium. It wasn't Camping World back then, but it was, they played at Tinker Field.
yep,
And I remember when they were the Cubs before they were the Rays. They were the Orlando Cubs. And man, I remember being a kid, like, you grab your glove and we'd go hang out like right behind the first base dugout. There was like a little field, and we would just sit there and just shag and foul balls all night. Man, you got a foul ball, you get another one, you give
yeah,
it to another kid that's chasing. Man, oh, those were some good times. Like, that's a part of my childhood I will never forget.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and like you said, those guys are playing. It's a little bit more. Not that the big leaguers is not meaningful, but it's obviously a little bit different. They make a lot of money. There's the big lights. It's the big stadiums. Now these guys are playing with a different sense of urgency. Every single pitch, every single out means something because it could be what determines you getting to that next level or not. So I like to get my son around that a little bit more, so that he can experience a little bit of that and see what that's about. And I think we have some minor league clubs around here. Don't we have one in Daytona? I think
Yeah,
the Cubs have an affiliate out there, right? Like
I
Tortugas or
believe
something
so.
like
Yeah.
that. And they have some crazy names too, which is awesome.
Oh, they have the best
So
names. The best
yeah,
names. The
yeah,
Portland Sea Dogs up in Maine. That's one of my
yeah,
favorites.
yeah. It's so definitely, man. But like I said to Bill, we got to make this Atlanta trip a reality, and especially if I don't know if the Red Sox are in town at any time, but if we can get that done, let's do it.
We
Let's
could
make it
definitely do that. I
happen.
mean, so they've got games in Pensacola. The Pensacola Blue Wahoos as a AA affiliate for Minnesota. Jacksonville's got one for the Marlins, the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp.
Hmm.
Daytona, the Tortugas. There you go. They're a single A
Okay.
team, so
Yeah.
they're kind of like, those guys are walking in off the street playing. Um,
They're pulling up in their Toyotas.
yeah, we got Bradenton, Clearwater, Fort Myers, Jupiter, Lakeland Flying
Okay.
Tigers. I've heard of them, actually.
Yeah.
Who else? The Florida Fire Frogs. That's the Braves affiliate. So
Okay.
there's a bunch, man. Port St. Lucie, Port Charlotte, Tampa. Also has the Tarpons, or the Tampons, we could say, the Yankees affiliate team.
Yeah. Yeah. We're
But we
not
could
seeing any of that.
we could hit some of these games up, man. I'm down. Let's go to
Yeah, man.
Daytona.
They're
We're gonna
probably
make it.
cheap,
We're gonna
man.
do a sideline sport talk field trip. Whoever wants to come, get on the bus. We're going to Daytona to see the
That's right.
Tortugas play
We'll watch Tortugas.
at
We'll
Jackie
we'll
Robinson Ballpark.
Hell yeah, make some noise. Our
That park
section will be
opened,
the
by the
rowdy
way,
one.
in 1914, where they play.
Wow.
That is an old, old field. And the
Hmm.
grass is 100 years old. That's pretty impressive.
I like it. I like it. We need to do it. So yeah, baseball is getting going, and so we'll see what happens there. I know last week we talked a little bit about Fernando Tatis Jr. getting his $320
Making bank.
million. You know, you want to talk about crazy contracts, man.
That's a lot of money.
Baseball's where it's at. I posted actually on our Sideline Sports Talk Facebook page a video today. Young man, 14 years old, is a catcher. And let me tell you, if anybody looks like a pro at 14 years old, is this damn kid. I mean, just mowing them down, throwing everybody out, throwing back to first base behind the first baseman and getting guys coming back. I mean, he had it all. I mean, hitting the ball left all over the field, showed some speed. So, a cool little video to watch, and maybe a name for us to remember. I'll have to look up his name, but man, hey, young man's got he's got a little bit of a future ahead of him. Hopefully, he can stay level headed and keep working hard, and hopefully he makes it. But
Yeah,
check
he's
out
gonna
that little
sign with
video
somebody
there
in
on
2 years.
Facebook.
You'll see. He'll get drafted when he's 16 or 17, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and then they'll shove him down into the Tortugas in Daytona to play on that 100-year-old field, and we'll get to watch him.
Can't wait. I can't wait. That's
Yeah,
what we ought to tell him.
PP's done with the baseball. Maybe we should talk hockey then, huh, PP?
We got hockey and basketball still.
I guess I should ask him since he's a big. We should ask him if being the Saints guy is he going to have a quarterback next year in Drew Brees, or are they going to go ahead and move on and start somebody else? Because that's an interesting question to
Go
see what's
Bolts.
going to happen there. Bill.
Well, I tell you
Yeah.
what, I will say one headline I did see was a Luka Doncic rookie autographed card shattered the record, sold for $4.6 million
Jesus
for an
Christ.
autographed basketball card. So
Wow.
if you guys aren't kicking yourself for finding that one.
And you know what? We could have had an autograph from Luka tonight because he was here in Orlando playing our Orlando Magic, and they were victorious 130 to 124.
I
over
called
the
him. He
Magic.
didn't answer. He's a dick.
Luka was celebrating a birthday, I believe, yesterday, so he came out here to Orlando, celebrated a birthday, and put up some points against our boys. So yeah, not a good night for the Orlando Magic. But a good night for Luka Doncic and the now old 22-year-old Luka Doncic. That's unbelievable. That kid is awesome.
And to compare this, so Giannis had a rookie card that sold in September for $1.8 million. LeBron James signed rookie card went for $1.8 million in July. Tom Brady's rookie card sold for $600,000. Mike Trout had one go for $4 million. Michael Jordan had a 92 All-Star Game one go for $1.4 million. This one went for way more than that. $4.6 million for an autographed Luka. Like, is that a fan? I mean, are you gonna make your money off that? You gonna make your money back off that? I don't get it.
It's unbelievable. But you know what? Kind of going to something that Dad mentioned to you a couple of weeks ago, and Timmy, we missed our opportunity because we should have jumped all over it at that time and bought in a bunch of it. NBA Top Shot. For anybody that hasn't heard about it,
we need to get into the stock
now. An official. It's an affiliated company with the NBA. They have a licensing agreement with them, and basically it is digital basketball cards in the form of clips, video clips. And they had a LeBron James one sell for I think it was $71,000 from one of his dunks from a couple years ago. I myself tried to go in there a couple of days ago and to try to buy a pack because I figured, hey man, this is the ground floor. Let's get something, even if I'll put up $10. Well, they're sold out now, so there's a waiting list. You have to wait for them to let you know when you can get one because apparently there's just a waiting list to get these videos.
I'm gonna go get one.
They call them.
I just want to get one, and then be like, I'll sell them to you right now.
So listen, I actually went the other route, right? And I went into their page, and then people can buy just the same way that you can sell one card. You can sell one moment. So I went in there and being a Magic fan, I said, you know what? I'll find one of our Magic guys. And I found a clip, a moment, as they call them, of Markelle Fultz on a pull-up jumper. Not the greatest play in the world, but you know what? Again, Magic fan, I'll go ahead and try to buy this thing for $14 and see what happens.
Right.
Well, long story short, the website was having maintenance or whatever, so I couldn't make the purchase. So the next day I go back in, I said, damn it, I want to get this freaking moment. And now it's $21, Timmy. 24 hours later, the same clip is now $21. I mean, unbelievable. Unbelievable. The world's going digital, folks. So hop on the train while you can and get in on the ground floor, because these things are selling like hotcakes. The players are all over it. They're talking about it on their Twitter pages. They're buying stuff up. I mean, it's just crazy to see it. But much like this Luka thing, again, I mean, you have these guys already selling these videos for, you know, $71K. I mean, I think there's a couple that went for 200 and something. I mean, it's just crazy how this thing is taking off. And yeah, ground floor, you got to get in now. Only a couple packs came out, so if you can get your hands on one of these things, maybe you'll make some money.
PP Grande with the Raheem Abdul Sharif. Is he a baseball player?
No.
Is he talking about Sharif Abdur Rahim because the Atlanta Hawks great? Is that who he's talking about? Who knows?
Oh,
who knows?
Man. Oh man. But yeah.
NBA Top Shot, huh?
Take a look at it, folks. NBA Top Shot. The week that I told you guys about it,
you did.
You could have gone in there and bought 5 packs in one shot. Not a problem. Not 2 or 3 days later, boom, sold out. Things started getting out there, flying around, and people were eating them up. So definitely something to take a look at. I know that soccer now is starting to add something similar to soccer, the soccer world. So,
oh God, you know what would happen? I'd buy 3 packs and it'd just be guys rolling around on the ground pretending they're hurt. Every one of them.
Probably. But if you get that one Cristiano Ronaldo moment,
I want a Messi one.
Know, then
I want the Messi one where he's getting ready to score the goal and the guy runs on the field and gets in the way. But sticking with basketball, I did see Joakim Noah is going to be retiring. I didn't even know he was still playing. But,
I thought he was retired already.
Yeah, apparently he is former Defensive Player of the Year, is going to be retiring after 13 years, wants to retire as a Bull. So there you go. I remember, because he was on the Florida Gators team that won, was it back-to-back or back-to-back-to-back?
Yeah. I think they were back-to-back.
Man, who was on that team? That was a squad.
Well, they had Al Horford on there. Yep. They had Bradley Beal on that team.
Let's see. I'm gonna look this up.
Yeah, but they had some dudes on that team. They had some dudes that
and they all drafted like super high too. Like I think Joakim Noah went like 9th or something overall.
Yeah, and what's interesting about that particular group is that they had an opportunity to actually come out the year before into the draft and still get picked up pretty high in the draft, but they all got together and elected to go back for another year. Worked out for them, won another championship, and then they all went in there. So
they had Joakim Noah, Joakim Noah, Al Horford, Corey Brewer. They had Lee Humphrey, the point guard. They had Maurice Spates was the other guy, the center. Spates.
Okay. Yep.
Those were the big names I think that came out.
All serviceable players in the NBA.
Yeah. Plus, they had old John Hamilton on that team. Orlando, Florida, great. So we'll see what happens with them. But
yeah. So
I don't think he's done anything since.
Yeah. So Joakim Noah, I guess, in a lot of people's minds, he was already retired, so he gone.
Yep.
Yes, sir. So, yeah, man. I mean, the world of sports right now, it's not a bunch happening right now. At least exciting stuff.
No.
I know we're March Madness, I guess, is around the corner, but like I've told you in the past, I'm not a big NCAA basketball fan. But yeah, I know we had Canelo fight this week. Did you see any boxing or any fighting this weekend?
I didn't. There was a UFC fight too, wasn't there, on Saturday?
I think there was a fight that was moved, but I know Canelo fought some dude that he had no business being in the ring with, and
Yeah.
I decided that I was not going to watch it because I knew it was going to be over quick. And sure enough, next morning I was able to watch all 3 rounds on Facebook, and the yeah, when guys are getting dropped with jabs, you know that they're outclassed. So
Yeah, that's
guy had no chance at all against Canelo Alvarez. So yeah, and my understanding is that now Andre Ward, for all you big boxing fans, is probably going to make a return. So we'll see how that works out for him.
so what do you I mean, what do you do when you're at the top of your game like Canelo, right? I mean, first off, you're a
Mhm.
ginger, you're a champion, a purebred winner. Everyone knows gingers obviously have higher pain tolerances. What do you do when there's just nobody there left to fight? You just kind of, yeah, I'll fight this guy, whatever, get a paycheck. I mean, at what point do you hang it up? You know, what point do you call it? Say there's nobody that can beat me. I'm done. Do you go into a different weight class? Try and find somebody else there?
I mean, he's done that already. He's already come up a couple of weight
Yeah.
classes. You know, what do you do? I mean, that's the question. Boxing has a little bit of conundrum happening there because they don't have very many great fights left. And I blame a lot of it on here's the
COVID.
no
Oh.
here's the controversy. I blame it all on Floyd
Donald
Mayweather.
Trump. It's his fault.
Floyd Mayweather killed boxing when he started making it purely about money,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden belts and titles meant nothing. And obviously, everybody plays sports nowadays, especially professional sports for money. But boxing, when you were a champion and met something, and Floyd Mayweather made it so that it didn't mean a damn thing. If he felt like he could make more money fighting another guy and he needed to give up a belt, then so be it. I'll give up a belt
Yeah.
and move on to the next thing. And, you know, picking fights rather than fighting the next, best guy available to you or the mandatory guy was the way to go. And it made boxing great. And you would see the best guys fighting the next best, in line,
Yeah.
couple times a year. Boxers would fight 2, 3, 4 times a year. Now guys fight one time. A
Maybe.
guy that's very active fights twice,
Mhm.
and it's just not the same. And I grew up watching boxing. I grew up watching Tyson and watching Julio Cesar Chavez and I mean all these guys, Tito Trinidad and Miguel Cotto and all these great champions. These guys that were willing to get out there and fight whomever. And now you have these guys that don't want to tarnish their record, so they want to, pick these fights, and it's just not fun to watch as much anymore,
Yeah. Well, and
So
it's tough because I was watching some videos of Rocky Marciano back in the day, and I mean, like, say what you want about who he fought and when he fought, but that guy had a jab that would, or sorry, a hook that would literally decapitate you if you caught it the wrong way. And you don't see a lot of fighters that are like, you don't see a lot of power guys anymore that are of smaller stature. And because, when you put a heavyweight up against a heavyweight, it's not as impressive because they're
yeah,
both built for power. And,
right,
I think boxing lost some of its luster with Mayweather where, you're better off, you're safer just dancing around and winning by points rather than trying to
yeah,
knock a guy out. And
yeah,
and say what you want about the safety of players and these guys signed up to punch each other in the face, and whoever can
yeah,
punch the hardest wins. That's what
yeah.
people want to see in boxing, and that's why almost it's turning into where these guys that are up and coming, those fights are better because they have something to prove. It's the
Mm-hmm.
same thing in UFC fights now. Like, these younger guys, they want a hot shot win, they want to try and knock you out because they want to be noticed. And
Yeah.
it's tough. It's tough to watch.
And that's the difference too. Dana White, he is rewarding guys for going out there and doing their thing, right?
Right.
And that's the difference between UFC and boxing, right? So boxing, you have Top Rank, you have Golden Boy, you have Mayweather, whatever his brand is. You have all these guys are not willing to make fights with the other guy because they want to make more for their production company than
Right.
than the other guy and whatnot. In the UFC, it's not. It's Dana White. And if he says, Tim, you got to fight this next guy, I mean, either you fight him or he's going to kick you out of UFC.
Yeah.
I mean, there
You a
is
pussy?
no.
You're not gonna fight him?
Yeah, either you do it or you're gone.
Yeah.
And there's no questions asked, and it makes for a lot more excitement, right? He did kind of do a little bit of the whole just throwing a guy in there for the money side of it when he threw Conor McGregor in there a couple times for a couple of these fights, and it just hasn't panned out for him because Conor McGregor's got his butt whipped. But generally speaking, they'll sit, the best guys against, the next best guy. One always fights number two, and nobody's ducking anybody, and that's why UFC is gaining a lot more momentum and is gonna slowly keep on going and may eventually surpass boxing as the top contact sport that we watch.
I agree with that. I just saw this, by the way, the Fernando Tatis contract.
Yeah.
There is some stuff in here. Contract calls for a $10 million signing bonus payable within 30 days of approval of the contract, and a $1 million salary this year, his last season before he would have been eligible for arbitration. Now, there's some interesting stuff in here, though, that I did see. Is he gets a hotel suite on all road trips. He has the right to purchase a premium luxury suite and 4 of the best available premium season tickets for all Padres home games. That was included in his contract.
Okay.
So that hotel suite on the roads, man, that's a game changer right there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, buddy. Young man, 20. How old? He's 22, 23.
22,
as
man.
well.
He's 22.
Yeah. So I mean, you have Luka in the NBA. 22 years old. You have Fernando Tatis Jr. And he's not even the most exciting one of these young guys. I think Bill can give us some run on one of his guys, but Acuna over there with the Braves is he'll give Tatis Jr. a run for his money. That's for damn sure. I don't know what his contract looks like off the top of my head, but he doesn't have Fernando Tatis Jr. money. But when you start looking at the best players in Major League Baseball, still some youthful guys in there with the exception of Mike Trout. He's leading the way as the number one guy, but he's I think 28 or so. But got Mookie Betts in there as the number 2 guy, who's extremely exciting to watch.
Yeah,
and
he's
young,
making some money.
You have like I said, Ronald Acuna. He's young. You have Tatis Jr. now making some money, and he's young. So I mean, baseball has an opportunity to start making some noise. They just need to start marketing the damn thing better.
Yeah.
They claim that Trout is the best player, but nobody hears about him. So need to do a better job of getting their guys out there and getting some more exposure and make a little bit more fun for the fans, to watch on TV. So we'll see what they do this year. I'm going to make a better, more of an effort to get out there and watch some baseball. It looks like Bill is trying to get us with some sideliners opinion.
Best pizza.
Bill.
Dude, I was literally just looking at the best pizzerias in America. That's so funny.
I will say this, going back to last week's sideliners opinion, even though I did say, to kind of bring back what I said, that Chick-fil-A was overrated, I did have some Chick-fil-A today. I got myself a shake and some fries. I had to wait for my daughter in volleyball. Man, I figured what better way to do that than to sit out here and get me a nice shake. And
you should have posted that on Twitter, eating your own words. Let me
tell you. That's right. And you know what? It was my pleasure and their pleasure to serve me.
That's it. Best pizza.
Every second
okay, so we've got to lay down the ground rules here on best pizza. So we're talking chain. Are we talking chain pizza like Pizza Hut, Papa John's? What are the other ones? Are there other ones? Marco's.
Yeah, you have Little Caesars.
Little Caesars. Yep. Hungry
Howie's.
And then we've got like the kind of the actual pizza place. Are we talking about style of pizza? Like deep dish, pan, crispy, thin and crispy.
We'll let Bill kind of drive the
Bill's throwing Marco's thin crust out there.
Okay, so Marco's is more of a chain kind of deal. So
I will say,
with
I am a thin crust pizza fan, but I feel like from a quantity aspect, I want a more full pizza. Like I want to be able to fill myself up more because I can eat a thin crust pizza no problem, like a whole
Yeah.
large one. Hands, like, that's not an issue. Like
Mm.
now you start giving me, like a stuffed crust deep dish kind of thing. I'm struggling. I'm going to struggle to kind of get halfway through it. So, but I will say,
Hmm.
what's your go-to pizza? Hey, we're going to order pizza tonight. What's the go-to?
Well, since I do have well, not so little anymore, but I do have little ones, we tend to go for quick and easy, and we'll go slap $5 on the counter and get ourselves some Little Caesars, and that
Wow.
generally that'll get through for the kids, but it's not my preferred, kind of
I
chain
I had
pizza.
I had
Papa John's.
different
Papa John's to
expectations for
me
you.
is I like Papa John's. I'm a fan
Okay.
of Papa John's. I remember in the draft we bought some pizza this past year. We got
Yep.
some Papa John's, and I was loving every second of it because I'm a bread eater
Yeah.
and I like the fluff. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I can do, my wife is big on the thin crust, the crunchy,
Yeah.
so generally when we go out to a pizza place and, she's with me, hey, you appease the wife, sure, get the thin crust. But if it's up to me, if I'm rolling solo and I'm going to get me, a slice of something, I want something with some fluff on it. That's my personal opinion on it. So yeah, thin crust.
Interesting.
Bill is not my style. Hashtag sideliner's opinion for Ricky D is going to be something fluffy. And I'm kind of playing with it. I don't go too crazy. A little bit of pepperoni and some green pepper on there will do just a trick for me.
Ooh, okay.
But I
So you
need
can
I
get
need
any
that
pizza
fluff.
you want. That's the pizza you're getting. Any pizza you want. You're getting a Papa John's pizza with pepperoni and green peppers on it. And we're talking, you can get your pizza from anywhere you want, anywhere in the country.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like I unfortunately have not had the opportunity to travel outside a whole bunch and get out there to all these pizza joints, but
Well, you're from
um,
Mass. They have to have pizza
you
up there,
know,
right?
well they do, but typically over there you work with a grinder, that's what you get. We call them grinders over there, not
Oh,
subs,
like a
so
sandwich.
that's
Okay. Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
that's really what you're going for. You know what I mean? You
Okay.
go find yourself, we had Pat's up there, you go to Pat's and you get yourself a nice grinder and you get it on the press, and it's just like bam, it's some good stuff. But pizza, you know
See, and there's different
you know
variations of pizza because are we talking like situational? Like, okay, for delivery, I'm with you. I'm gonna go Papa John's. But I'm more of a. I like to get the veggie pizza, but then I add sausage to it, if that makes sense.
mm,
So I like a lot
okay.
of veggies and a little bit of meat. That's for delivery. Now, if I'm out and about, um, honestly, I'm not going to sleep on the Costco pizza. Costco pizza is fire, and it is delicious. Um,
Okay.
but the best pizza I have ever eaten in my entire life, some people will argue that it's not pizza, but deep dish pizza from Chicago, Chicago style, Lou Malnati's. If you ever get a chance in Chicago, go to Lou Malnati's, get a deep dish pizza there. I've eaten from there and I've eaten from Gino's East. Um, Lou Malnati's is hands down the best pizza you will ever eat in your life. The
Mm,
crust, it's like a buttery sweet amazingness, and it's like this thick, and you have to eat it with a fork. I mean, it's that good. And then put it in the fridge overnight and eat it for breakfast. Oh my god, dude, it will. You won't want to leave Chicago. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you.
yeah. Yeah, that's a trip that I'm looking to make actually.
I'm down.
Because like I mentioned to you in the past, we have some family up there in my wife's side of the family that does live in Chicago and has ties actually to I mentioned to you before to the White Sox.
Yeah.
Kenny Williams is my wife's cousin's husband. And it's not one of those very distant cousins either that you never speak to. It's she's she'll reach out to her and they talk
Your cousin-in-law's husband.
quite a bit. And yeah, and she's kind of a celebrity in her own right over there. But so we're trying to make that trip. So I'm gonna have to take you up on that probably and take a look at it.
And it's not
Uh,
far. If you go to Grant Park, obviously, if you go to Chicago, you're going to go to
mhm.
Grant Park. If you want to go look around, whatever,
Okay.
that's where you go.
Yeah.
It's you can walk to Gino, you can walk to Lou Malnati's from Grant Park. Um,
Yeah.
that's another thing. Grant Park is probably one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. Granted, I got there like a week before the NFL draft, so it was extremely clean, but amazing place. But yeah, another pizza place that I wouldn't sleep on is Mellow Mushroom. If you've ever been there,
Mellow
um,
mushroom. Okay.
is really good. They've got a lot of different pizzas. I call them hipster pizzas because they don't
Okay.
have just normal pizza. It's like, they have like a barbecue chicken one, they have a buffalo chicken one, they have one with like different kinds of vegetables that you normally wouldn't put on there. But yeah, they make a really good beer cheese and mellow mushroom. They've got really good craft beer and stuff in there too. So I would
Okay.
recommend mellow
Okay.
mushroom if you're looking to
Mellow mushroom.
expand your horizons. There's one down on I don't know. It's down there.
I I thought there was one on 50 close to LFA.
I
So
think there is
we'll see.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the last. That is one that I saw. So definitely gonna have to put that one on the list of places to check out. So, uh, okay,
There's one on
okay,
Fairbanks actually. There's one on
but
Fairbanks, right across from the bowling alley, the Loma Bowling Alley. It's right across the street
okay,
from it.
okay.
So
All
there
right,
you go. If you
I'm
ever
gonna
go
have to
visit
give that
Mommy
a
and
look.
Poppy, it's right there.
Okay, okay. Well, hey, I mean, pizza. That's can never go wrong with pizza in my book. I don't think that I've had a pizza really that I'm like, no, I just can't do it. Um, obviously there's some that are a little better than others, but for the most part, I'll scarf down any pizza.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Not
I
much of
don't
a
judge
debate for me
myself.
there.
Yeah, we'll go
Yeah,
we'll go there. But yeah,
yeah,
I will say when it comes to food that I've ever eaten, I would say probably Philly would be my favorite, then Chicago, and then New Orleans. Those three cities, man. They just Philly makes the kind of food that just kind of sticks on the inside of you forever. And
yeah.
I mean,
You're eating a heart attack when you're eating it.
it yes, but it's so good. And being like, if you've never been to Philly, being in downtown Philly and sitting there and just chilling and eating a cheesesteak and knowing how much history is around you. I mean, that's where the country
Yeah,
was born, essentially.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and then Chicago, you've got the deep dish pizza, obviously, but you've also got the beef sandwiches that you've got to get, that you can try. Not a huge fan of the Chicago style hot dog, but beef sandwiches, and then you go to New Orleans and the seafood, man. Whew, whew. Come on now, you can't argue.
yeah,
You can't argue it. I'm
yeah.
sorry. We went from
Huh.
pizza to eating all over the country.
There you go. There you go. But you know what? I can appreciate Bill for bringing that hashtag Sideliners
That was a
opinion
good
there.
one.
I like that. I like that. We've been asking you guys to add a little bit to it. So keep coming. Keep those coming. And like we said, we're here for you guys. So that we want to interact with everybody, and we want to go ahead and make you guys a part of what we're doing. This is not just about Timmy and myself. This is about all of us, and having a good talk. And so bring it. Every
Bring
week.
it.
We don't have anything specific that we're asking for. Just it could be anything. Your opinion. We'll either give you hell for it or agree with it. So, Bill, thank you for that. We appreciate it. We
That's great.
appreciate the love on that. So,
All right, so we did fail,
yeah,
by the
man.
way. We were supposed to get Bill on the show tonight, and I completely didn't even think about it until like 7:30 tonight. I'm like, no, it's too late. I was getting out of the shower, and I was thinking of Bill. I was, wiping the water off of me. I was butt naked, and I was like, oh, I forgot to call Bill.
Bill.
Don't ask me why those two things triggered the whole Bill thing, but that's what happened. So I got to get with Bill this week.
Okay.
We're going to try and get everything lined up, hopefully this weekend, and we're going to try and get something going for Monday. We're going to try and get something.
Yes,
We're going to get
sir.
into some deep conversation. We're going to talk about random stuff, but we're going to get some topics that are going to blow his mind, maybe.
Well, and you know what? Bill's a fishing guy, right? So me
Plus,
being the non-fisherman,
there you go.
I'm gonna ask the stupidest fishing questions in the world, but they're probably gonna be in line with what a lot of other people are thinking because not everybody's a fisherman. So Bill, get ready for a lot of dumb questions from me, but it'll be fun either way.
And see, and I want to see if we can get with Bill's contact, and I want to start promoting King Kraken, the clothing wear that he promotes, because I am a huge fan
Yeah.
of how it looks. I'm a huge fan of how it feels when I run my hand across Bill's back. I mean, I want to get into the King Kraken push, and I want
Yeah.
people to start pushing this. So, maybe we can talk to him and maybe get some kind of discount code or something and get the logo up here on the stream. See what we can
Yep.
do, but we'll touch base on that definitely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So definitely get out there, let your friends know about us and what we're trying to do, and to invite them on here. I know the last couple of weeks we did Wednesdays, but trying to get back on track. Timmy's sounds like he's feeling 100%. I'm actually coming around. I've been battling not COVID, but some some stuff here the last couple of weeks too. It's just kind of gone around. So hopefully we'll continue doing Mondays like we were doing before. So invite your friends, invite everybody out here to join the conversation. Follow us on all our socials at Talk Sideline on Twitter. Get on out there, Sideline Sport Talk on Instagram. Find us on Facebook, Sideline Sport Talk. We have a page on there too. Yeah, I mean, and bring it. Just anything that you guys want to talk about. Doesn't matter what it is. As you can see, is not just sports. Even though we are sport talk, we'll talk about just about anything. So, other than maybe politics and religion, we'll keep those out of it.
Hey, sports is a
We'll touch
religion.
on anything else. There you go. There you go.
All right,
But
guys.
anything else, we'll be glad to touch on it.
Definitely. That's going to be it for us, guys. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us as always. We will see you next week, and we will talk to you on the sidelines.
Peace.